Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of For the Classical Guitarist. My name is John, and in this video we're going to be checking out the piece Asturias by Isaac Albeniz with a little twist. So, let's get started. So as you might know, Asturias wasn't originally written for the guitar, it was actually written for the piano. Just so you have an idea of how that might sound, check this out. But that does leave me with one question. Was guitar really the best choice? I don't know. Let's go ahead and find out by checking out some other instrumentations of this famous piece, and then we can see what we think. Now, one thing I wanted to add is I'm going to be doing all of these for ensembles because I think it's the only fair point of comparison, since the guitar is a multiphonic instrument, and other instruments, with the exception of the piano, don't really have a multiphonic way of playing, at least not in the same way. So I think it would be unfair to compare it to like solo violin or solo flute. Go ahead and leave your comments down below if you would like. I'm going to be giving some thoughts here and there on what I thought worked and what didn't work. Okay, so my thoughts so far are that yes, I think it definitely works in here. I think because they have more than one person, they definitely can be a bit more creative when it comes to things such as dynamics and changing color. But I don't know, to me something's missing. I feel like because it's just strings, it's the same thing over and over, we lose that kind of sense of rough and like rawness that we get when trying to include the rasgueados on the guitar. I think because the setup that they have is so big and so full, it almost has them with less creativity. It almost limited them in a way. Just some thoughts so far. Let's keep on going. Okay, so yeah, my overall thoughts on this is because they have so many more people involved, even though it's only 4 as opposed to 1, it's a lot more, and they can do a lot more because of that. Because on the guitar, when we play an arrangement of this, or if you make your own, you have to be really conscious to think of, we're building dynamics through how many notes we can physically cram into one spot. And they're doing dynamics purely on just a dynamic scale of piano, forte, mezzo forte, all that other stuff. So I think it works, but honestly, I think it's almost overkill with this whole string quartet. Okay, so for this one, we're going to be looking at a brass quintet. It might be somewhat similar to a string quartet, but because it's brass and not strings, let's expect something hopefully a little different. Okay, so right off the bat, I like this one more than the string quartet one, not necessarily because it's brass versus strings, but I think just the arrangement of it just makes a little bit more sense. And what I mean by that is in this one, they're not all playing at once. They're kind of spacing out a bit. They're even trading off in the melody as from one trumpet to the other, and it just works a bit better than just kind of right in your face, everybody playing at a piano volume. Okay, so overall, yes, I like that one a lot more. But I was thinking while we were listening to it is that even though they have a brass quintet and they're all playing at some parts, it just doesn't work for me as much as the guitar one does. I mean, maybe I'm just a bit biased because I'm so used to how it is on the guitar, but you notice how here they're forced to put the melodies in just the trumpets. And of course then the trombone gets the bass line, everyone else gets something in between. But in the guitar one, we use the upper notes as an accompaniment. not as melody. Coming up next, we're going to be listening to this one, but now for Flute Choir. Okay, so again, so far, I don't really love what's happening here, and this one isn't anything to do with the flute or the instrumentation. This is just that it's almost too much of the same thing. It's something about having different instruments all in the same exact timbre, and so it's just different ranges, such as alto flute, bass flute, whatever else they got going on here. Just doesn't really work for me as effective as just one guitar or one piano. I think so far the flute one is definitely my least favorite, unfortunately. It might just be this arrangement. I'm sure there could be a good arrangement for this, but this one doesn't really do much for me. Okay, so I have to admit that chord at the end was pretty cool, it was pretty nice, and definitely, honestly, I hate to say it, but better than the guitar one, where the guitar one we at most can just do that high B harmonic. And here you have this whole nice chord, it sounds really nice, and I do want to add on the piano, I'm pretty sure they hit a big B major chord at the end of that, and it really does have a much bigger effect than just one single note. Okay, so I just realized, so far we've gone against string quartets, brass quintets, and a flute choir. But one thing that was left and that kind of combines all of that would be a full orchestra. Okay, so far this is definitely one of my favorite ones. I think they definitely just have the best way of orchestrating it. They show the intensity by the layering of the parts. And for the big chords, as you can see, they didn't even add everybody in, at least not everybody in this huge intensity. Now, the only thing I'm not liking that much is that it really is showing the difference between a full-on chord being hit all at once like you do on the piano, or what happens when you play it as raschiato on a guitar, where all the notes aren't technically at the same time. And there's also that intensity that's lost when the fingers are all playing the same one again and again. Because with a raschiato, you don't just play it once and call it a day. You play with your fingers kind of like fanning over the strings, going one finger and then the next. Okay, so overall, yes, I think this is just a good arrangement of it. I think that's why it sounds so good. But overall, I think the things that work really well are how they use the layering of the parts to show the intensity of it and not purely relying on dynamics. Overall, yes, I think this one is so far my favorite by far, and I think it just sounds the best. And honestly, if I heard this live, as a guitar player who loves playing Asturias like we all do, I would not be disappointed. Okay, so for this final one, I wanted to have a bit of fun and just do something maybe a bit different. And this is going to be Asturias being played in a rock band setting. Drums, bass, lead guitar, and rhythm guitar. I do like when everyone came in. I think that was pretty cool and exciting once we finally got going with the piece. It was like, okay, now we're starting. Also, as you noticed, I stand corrected. Not only did they have a guitar, lead guitar, bass, drums, but they also have keyboards as well. I think that definitely fills up the space and allows them to have some of that more like ambient noise in the background to keep. Overall, I think that was pretty cool. I think I liked how they used the use of octaves to change and show the intensity instead of layering things in. Again, I do think it kind of fell under the fault of the string quartet one where everybody just started playing all at once things got going. And it definitely took away from a little bit of the excitement for me. I think out of all the ones we saw, definitely the full orchestra was my most favorite. But again, that might have just been the arrangement that was made in the other ones. The arrangements might not have been done with as much care, or at least not done, in my opinion, as well. Anyway, all of these videos that you guys saw here are going to be linked down below. If you do want to check out the full one, feel free to let me know which ones you liked or didn't like. I just wanted to do this for fun. I did something like this in the past for Quartet, which you'll find that video over here. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, and until then, keep on practicing.